We are in step 19.7, which is all about troubleshooting common formula errors in Excel. When Excel cannot properly perform calculations, an error value will appear in the cell where you entered the formula. So the error value may exist because the cell contains text instead of a numeric value, or if the cell referenced in the formula contains an error if the formula tries to divide by 0. There are several different reasons why you can get an error, and as you continue to gain more experience in Excel, you'll become more experienced with troubleshooting common formula errors. But let's go ahead and get started with this basic step by opening up step 19.7. And save this workbook as quality control. Now, we have a quality control report that where we have jars of pickle relish and the number of jars that was checked for quality of control, and then the number of jars that were defective. We need to figure out the percent of defective jars because we know the number that was defective, but we need to figure out the percent. So the first thing we will do is click in cell D3. Now, we know that our order of operation is to divide. In order to figure out the percent, we must divide the number checked by the number defective. However, we will start off entering our formula by what? Entering an equal sign. Click on cell A3 and divide, which is the backslash on your keyboard under your question mark, by B3 and press enter. So notice that when you press enter, you received an error that says pound value, which appears, and notice that you have a small green arrow in the upper left corner of your cell. And you also have a small screen tip, oops, with an exclamation point. If you drop down on the arrow and go to show calculation steps, it opens up evaluate formula dialog box. Now, basically the reference is telling us that we are attempting to divide with text, which we're not able to do. So that's kind of an indication that lets us know we're trying to divide, we're not dividing by the proper cell. So go ahead and click close and press F2 so that we can edit our formula. F2 function key on your keyboard. And this time let's edit by arrowing over and deleting the A3 and adding D3 and press enter. Now, when we updated our formula and pressed enter, we got another dialog box that said, gave us a circular reference warning, which basically says that the cell reference D3 in the formula refers to its own value, because this is where we need to find the value of the percent. And so we know that can't be right. So let's click OK. Or if you needed to get more information, you can obviously click help. But we're just going to click OK and go back to cell D3 Press F2 so we can edit our formula again. And we are dividing. So we want to divide the number of jars checked, which notice it has a border around it, by the number of defected jars. So it should actually be C3 divided by B3 and press enter. So for 200 jars and 6 being defective, 0.03% is actually defective. So now we can simply get our autofill handle and drag down to find the percent for the remaining values of the jars checked. Now, notice that the decimals represent a percent, but most of the cells you have too many decimal places. So, select all of your cells and let's click on percent in your number format. Remember, if you want to format a number, go to your number group and click on the format. We want to format as a percent and click the increase button 2 times to increase our decimal. Save changes to this worksheet. You've learned how to troubleshoot basic common errors. And then one bigger error that I noticed that you guys see a lot is when you have, let's see, pound symbols show up. Anytime you have pound symbols that show up in your spreadsheet, that basically means the content of your cells is too large for the size. So auto format that column by double clicking in between the boundaries of the column, or you can go to format and auto fit your column to allow space for your data to show. Save changes to this step, and I will see you on